so that I can. I know. I know, but God forbid if something happens, I have coffee. I'm gonna give you one time at least.
You ready, Mike?
Oh, well.
Very good. Okay. Welcome to the September 13th Twin Valley School District Board meeting. Feedback's a little odd. We welcome everyone to attend the Twin Valley School District Board meeting in person. If you wish to comment during the public comment section, complete one of the green cards. We have a public comment in the beginning and also at the end of the meeting. Public comments are not a question and answer period directed at the board, but a time for the public to submit comments to the board. We do have a 3-minute timeline. Leo, our solicitor, will be timing folks, so we stay within the 3 minutes. And then we also we're not only live streaming, but we're also recording this meeting, just from a sound quality standpoint. So the recording will be available at some point of the meeting. I know that there's some community members that are also recording, which is fine. But we thought we could maybe enhance the quality of the meeting. I think I did mention that's also being live streamed. And now I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John Murray, Jeff Moore,
Here.
Gary McEwen,
Here.
Doug Metcalf,
Here.
Jay Oliver,
Here.
Christine Osborne, Tracy Phillips.
Here.
7 board members present.
Sorry, I said we had a public comment section at the beginning and the end of the meeting. It's just at the end. Sorry about that. Our next action item is to approve the proposed agenda. There are no additions or amendments to the agenda, so I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the board agenda for this evening.
So hold. Second Phillips.
Is it roll call?
Allison Bolt,
Yes.
Jeff Moore,
Yes.
Gary McEwen,
Yes.
Doug Metcalf,
Yes.
Jay Oliver,
Yes.
Tracy Phillips,
Yes.
Tim Martin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Under new business, there's a motion to approve the resignation of Christine Osborne effective today. The recommendation is that we approve the resignation, and we can take action on it. If there's any comments, we can have the comments after we take our vote. So we need a motion to approve or
Second Bold.
roll call.
Jeff Moore,
Yes.
Gary McEwen,
Yes.
Doug Metcalf,
Yes.
Jay Oliver,
Yes.
Tracy Phillips,
Yes.
Tim Martin,
Yes.
Allison Bolt.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Christine has been on the board for a long time, and we work side by side on negotiations. For those of you that sat with us in the association meetings. She's been an outstanding board member, always prepared. And as much as I tried to talk her out of this, I guess I'm not that good of a negotiator after all, but, I understand, and, we're gonna really miss Christine. And personally, I'd like to thank her for the years that she spent as a dedicated school board member from Region 2. And, we wish her all the best. If we can talk her into it, we're gonna bring her back to a meeting and give her something, in appreciation for the years that she's been on the board. So again, she's gonna be greatly missed. But it was her choice.
Yeah, I'll ditto that with Gary. Christine, I don't know if you're watching, but, thank you for your time, your service. Many nights with negotiations, a lot of research and study, and she was a tremendous asset to this district, for everybody here. Just the thought and care she brought to the table for instructional, she really did a superb job, so she will be missed.
I would also like to say that thank you to Christine for, just your mentorship through the years. When I came on as a new school board member, she was always very, helpful, thoughtful, considerate, and, willing to answer questions.
Okay, we'll move on to, we have some personnel items. We have two resignations from the professional side and 6 from the support staff side. If there are no objections, I'd like to ask that the motion would include both professional 1A and B and support staff 2A through F.
Second, Metcalf.
Any questions or comments?
Can I just clarify that 2E, is that resignation date correct?
Yes.
And so it just missed the being on the August agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Gary McHugh.
Yes.
Doug Metcalf.
Yes.
Jay Oliver.
Yes.
Tracy Phillips.
Yes.
Tim Martin.
Yes.
Allison Gold.
Yes.
Jeff Ross.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We'll move on to nominations. And I'd like to do the same, if there are no objections, 1A through E, and 2A through D.
So moved, Metcalf.
Second on. Any questions or comments on either professional or support staff nominations? Hearing none, roll call please.
Doug Metcalf.
Yes.
Jay Oliver.
Yes.
Tracy Phillips.
Yes.
Tim Martin.
Yes.
Allison Gold.
Yes.
Jeff Ross.
Yes.
Gary McHugh.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
We have one change of status, and that's, under the support staff category, 2A. Ask for a motion to approve the change of status, please.
So moved, Metcalf.
Second. Questions or comments on the change of status? Hearing none, roll call please.
Jay Oliver.
Yes.
Tracy Phillips.
Yes.
Tim Martin.
Yes.
Allison Gold.
Yes.
Jeff Ross.
Yes.
Gary McHugh.
Yes.
Doug Metcalf.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Our next item is a motion to approve the candidates for 2021 PSBA offices or officers. The list is in our packet. Our deadline is, we have to submit before October. We have to elect one of the two for president-elect, one vice president. And then the only other choices that we would have, if we so choose to vote tonight, is, for the last category, the forum steering committee. You can choose up to 3 or 4 candidates.
So I reviewed the candidates and I would nominate David J. Thompson, I don't know how to say his last name, for president-elect. Alex Mathis for vice president.
How about the other ones, Doug? You wanna keep going?
East Zone, nominate Edward Brown. Section 7, I don't think we vote on section 7 because we are in section 8.
That's correct.
So, do we vote on the trustees?
We do vote on trustees, we do not vote on section 7.
Okay, so I would nominate the 3 names, under the trustees, all 3 of them.
And then we need to choose three from, the board steering committee.
Jennifer Davidson, Deanna Lansky, and Jamie Lynn Zimmerman are my nominees.
Okay, we have a motion with the nominees as Doug listed. If that's acceptable, I'd like to ask for a second, please.
Second goal.
Any questions or comments? For what it's worth, in speaking to somebody that's on the IU board, that's involved with PSBA, Doug, you hit all the ones that, she recommended, so, I think what you're suggesting is consistent with what others in Berks County agreed to.
Great.
Are we ready to vote? We have a motion and a second. So if there's no further questions, we'll vote on them as listed in the motion. Roll call, please.
Tracy Phillips,
Yes.
Kim Moore,
Yes.
Allison Holt,
Yes.
Jeff Ware,
Yes.
Gary McEwen,
Yes.
Doug Metcalf,
Yes.
Jay Alford.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, thank you. And, Rita, you will submit, you submit that to PSBA.
I do, if you'd like to approve it final this evening, or it will be on next month's agenda, or next week's agenda. So we can do it either way. So I can either submit tomorrow or submit next week.
How's the board feel about it?
We voted, I think, today.
Yeah, if we hold them over, what's that gonna do? We're gonna bring it back up and revote, or?
The only difference you'll see next week is just the names that you voted on.
I'm fine with either.
Yep. I think it sounds like a consensus to
Submit it.
submit. Now we have the report of the Board Governance Committee. Mr. Horrocks, please.
Dropping down to A for the board governance, a motion is in order for the approval of board policies 815.3, social media for a second reading. One, as you know, we came back and forth on quite a bit. If there's any further questions, Chris, anything, pretty much where we left it, right?
Nothing to add.
Questions or comments? If there are none, we need a motion and a second to move it forward.
Second, Oliver. Okay. I'll move forward to next week's agenda for final approval.
We have to take that any further on voice vote or just the next week there?
No. A motion and a second to bring it out of committee.
Dropping down to B, a motion is in order for the approval of board policy 113, special education for a first reading.
This policy is just an update, last time it was updated was 2010. The update to it is just a definition of parent guardian, from line 27 to 32. It's just a brief update on the policy.
questions or comments? Yeah. I will just kind of call out just for everybody's visual line of sight there, line 38 through 40, which calls out, this is regarding parents and guardians responsibilities. And it says, with whom the child lives, or an individual legally responsible for the child's welfare. Just kind of putting it out there for our knowledge of our times, that parents or guardians are in charge of their child's welfare, not a government entity.
I did have a couple of questions on the policy, not necessarily related to what's been changed, but some of the other details in the policy. For example, page 2, lines 10 through 12.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
Sure. Page 2, lines 10 through 12. Special education plan will include procedures for identifying and educating students with disabilities shall be aligned with the strategic plan. Do we have a strategic plan, and are these aligned?
Mr. Metcalf, we have a comprehensive plan. That comprehensive plan is due for review, and we're due to submit a new one in November. So that process will commence this year to develop a new one. And special education, there is a component of that in the comprehensive plan. You have to include a special education plan. Comprehensive plan and strategic plan are often used synonymously, both in policy and also in other locations. So yes, when our new plan is developed, there will be a special education plan attached to it, so the two are in sync with one another.
Thank you for that explanation, Dr.
You're welcome.
Continuing on page 2, line 29 through 30, the superintendent shall develop procedures for evaluating the effectiveness of the district's special ed plan and periodically report to the board. I'm not sure I've seen a plan for evaluating the effectiveness of special ed reported to the board in any formal manner.
A plan is being worked on and developed as a district team with our new special education director coming on board in the next several weeks. Our plan was to wait until that individual started and then be able to bring a team together of district administrators and building administrators to look at our district plan for special education, and then once we have that in draft form, be able to share it with the board.
Okay, thank you. On page 4,
Doug, can you hold off 1 second? Just a side note, this has been in existence since 2010, or maybe before that, correct? What have we done in the past for line 29 through 31, which Doug just brought up? Have we done any reporting back to the board that we know of, written, or is that through verbal, or we don't know?
When you say plan, or we've had comprehensive special education plans that have done the 3-year increments that have been.
So those would be the reports that would hold up to this?
Yes.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. Sorry, Doug, go ahead.
oh no problem. Page 4, line 15 through 17, discussions of public awareness activities in an annual publication written in newspapers. Not sure a lot of people read newspapers anymore. Is this the best way to distribute this public awareness campaign? And do we have examples of what this public awareness campaign has been in the past?
We've actually incorporated posting things on our website, we can actually include that in this policy as well.
Yeah, because if we're not really posting things in the newspaper, maybe we should take that out and we'll put it on social media or our website or whatever is more practical. And then, lastly, page 5 of 6, it talks about, there's a whole section on reporting of meetings, and it talks about how, that can and can't be done. My specific question is, do we need to address Zoom meetings, teleconference meetings in this section in any way to be more current with how some of these meetings are actually taking place with parents?
We could address this, as just a brief statement that said this also includes electronic meetings. We could do that.
That might be helpful. Thank you.
And Mr. Metcalf, if I could just circle back real quick on page 4 in the section when you were talking about where the information was posted.
Yeah.
It does specify there that written information has to be not only in handbooks and on the website, and there is an obligation on the district's end on a yearly basis. This is in reference to what's called child find procedures, so that parents understand that what the process is if they want their child to be evaluated for special education. And so, there is that expectation on the district end and that be published in a location where parents can see it.
And I'm not sure I've actually seen that before, so obviously I must be missing it, if it's done everywhere.
Any more, Doug, are you satisfied?
Jeff, I'm very satisfied, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just got one question. I think it's picayune, but on page 2, line 21, I think it should be a comment after intermediate units, because I don't think intermediate units and Patan are the same organization. So.
You're in the grammar, Gary.
Very, very minor. Well, Carol's not here anymore.
Okay, if there's no further, motion and a second. Second, Mark. And pass the next week. John, I don't think we have any discussion items at this time, unless, there's something that I don't know of. Yeah, Gary? Okay?
Yeah,
Sure. For the finance committee, we have 2 matters. Motion is in order for the approval of the parent transportation contract for student training 2021-2022, simple 01, for the 2021-2022 school year, including ESY. It's recommended the board approve this transportation contract. Questions? Not only that, motion in second.
So moved, Metcalf.
Second, Phillips.
Okay, item B, motion is in order for the approval of transportation ride share contract with Wilson School District 2021-2022. Any questions on that? Motion in second.
So moved for,
Oliver.
And I'm not aware of any discussion, informational items, so get back to you.
Okay, since Christine's not here, I'll take the instructional committee's only one item, and it's a student settlement and release agreement, SSA 21-22-05. This was something that was discussed in executive session as a student matter. And I'd like to ask for a motion and then a second to move this forward onto next week's agenda.
So moved on it.
second, Morag.
Okay, thank you, and I'm not aware of any instructional committee comments. So, with that said, we'll move on to superintendent's comments. Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen.
First, wanted to share that we're very proud of the Twin Valley Girls Field Hockey Team, who in conjunction with the middle school staff and community members, raised money and provided resources for the Coatesville community on Friday, September 3rd, when we played Coatesville High School in field hockey. The field hockey team took 4 truck/SUV loads of donations and $385 in gift cards to Coatesville's community, which was hit hard by Hurricane Ida. The field hockey team decided to do this at 7 p.m. the night before the game, and our community and staff showed up in a big way. So very, very proud of and thankful for our field hockey team and really stepping up for those in need. Second thing, wanted to share that on Friday of last week, we experienced the Twin Valley High School tradition through our TSA club. Since 2002, we've been repainting the Twin Valley letters on the hill in front of the high school in honor of those who died on September 11th, 2001. They also add some red and blue around the letters in the grass. It was a beautiful morning this past Friday, and our TSA club got up early and continued the tradition. Our thanks to the following students: Aiden Franks, Addison Osborne, Anjali Nair, Ryan Bayless, Leah Carwick, Katie Sharp, and Angela Minardi, as well as their advisor, Mr. Paul Bowman, for continuing this tradition. Also wanted to provide a fall sports update. The fall sports season is underway. Wanted to provide a breakdown of how the fall teams are doing as we're just a few weeks into the season. Football team is 2-1 and will play at Kutztown High School this Friday, September 17th. Boys soccer team is 1-3 and has 2 games this week. The girls soccer team is 0-3 and has 3 games this week. The boys cross country team is 5-0 and will have their first home meet tomorrow. The girls cross country team is 2-1 and will have their first home meet tomorrow. The girls volleyball team is 2-2 and will have 3 games this week plus a big tournament at Hempfield High School on Saturday, September 18th. The girls tennis team is 2-1 and will have 2 matches this week. The golf team is 8-3 and will have 2 matches this week. And the girls field hockey team is 3-0 and will have 3 games this week. They also have a big game this Saturday versus Lower Dauphin High School. And the last piece I'd like to share, just wanted to take a moment and on behalf of district administration, we too would like to thank Christine Osborne for her service to the district, to the board, to the community. As was mentioned by several of the board members, she was a very dedicated board member and really provided a lot of service and time to our district. And so on behalf of the administration, we want to thank her for all of her support. And that concludes my report. Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Winters? Okay, we'll go on to public comments. And as I stated earlier, we have a 3-minute time limit. First to speak is Michelle Raymond. I'm calling them the way they were given. I didn't pick Michelle.
I know, she wants to be last. I never did this before. All right. Yeah. She know better than let me have this because I don't know how to use this. Just in general, I'm appreciative of the district on how they handled the mandates from Wolf, Department of Ed, and Department of Health. I think that the governor is going to put you guys in a bind in a bad situation. In general, I appreciate what you've done, but I do believe that our governors are getting the parental rights that basically we are in charge of our children, and they're putting you in a bind and putting you in charge of our children. The masks are good for some people, and that's their personal choice, that's fine, but it's not good for everybody. It's not universally safe for everybody. Actually, by studies, it's not actually safe. I don't know where those studies are coming from. My biggest concern next is basically forced vaccination. Again, that should be something that's chosen by the parent. And I really implore the board and the district, if you get to that point, to call an emergency school board meeting, because we want to stay for any other decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Next person, Shane Frank.
Move on to the next one.
put you at the back of the list. Jesse Blankenmiller?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Betsy Blankenmiller, as you just said. I was a guest teacher from 2015 to 2017 in the Twin Valley School District, and I enjoyed that experience very much. My husband and I have 3 children. 2 have since graduated, and 1 is still here in high school. Both my older children received great educations and support here at Twin Valley, and would not be where they are at currently without the support of this school district, and I absolutely mean that. Twin Valley is an excellent family community. Our school board, with the support of the principals and staff members, led the charge last year. They kept this school open for the entire school year. Thank you. Our children had a more normal year than many other children had at other schools. But now we are here. Another year later, I think we're at a crossroads right now. So very many of us are just not on board with this mask mandate. Legally, we have the Pennsylvania statute Title 23, the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, the No Child Left Behind Act, to name a few. Physiologically, we can view with the use of a CO2 monitor how the quality of air changes when one puts a mask on their face and how that can affect learning, especially for the little ones. Of course, I've heard others who feel differently than we do. Just wear the mask, what's the big deal? To us, it's a big deal. We are not all the same. Pull your kids out if you don't like it. No, my child wants to be in school. She has many engaging teachers, classes, friends, activities here. She feels connected here. She loves it here. Last Tuesday, we gathered around the flagpole and we prayed, and in my prayer, I prayed for our superintendent, Dr. Winters, the school board, staff, and students, and for us parents too, that God would give us the strength and guide us through these challenges. To the school board, when is this going to end if no one says or does anything? Can nothing be done? In closing, I will offer a definition of a functional family. A functional family is when everyone's getting their needs met most of the time. How can we as a family, the Twin Valley community, do that? Thank you very much.
For those of you that just arrived, if you choose to speak, we do have green cards down here in the front, so don't want you to be left out if you missed it. Next person to speak is Jessica Curtis.
Hi, everybody. Yes, Jessica Curtis. I second a lot of what Betsy did say in the beginning, especially because last school year, the board made the best decision by giving parents a choice and saying, you can live stream, you can even pull your kids out if you're doing it in homeschool, you can do this, you can do that, you could be in person 5 days a week. And my daughter needed to be in school 5 days a week, and it helped her so much. I don't know where she would have been if you guys had not stepped in and done the right thing last year. So thank you so much for that, number one. And number two, you all made the right call in June with making masks optional. It was just the right thing to do for everybody who wanted to be that, and so some people want to wear them, some people don't. Some, even people who are vaccinated, they're like, okay, maybe I want to wear them for a little bit, and that's fine too. My view is, I'm just grateful that you guys made all the right decisions. Last year, this year, there were school districts who get so much more money than Twin Valley in Chester County, and even some in Berks County. And they were not even open until like March. And you guys kept us open. You guys kept our kids in school. You kept them learning. And so teachers who worked here so hard last year and now this year. I just want to say thank you. That we're behind them. So thanks.
So you have another comment on your card? Jessica?
Oh, yeah, homecoming. Yeah, sorry. Real quick. Got a senior. She's wondering when homecoming is because it's not on the schedule. It says nothing about a dance. Can it be outside? Can it be tents? Can it be maskless? Et cetera, et cetera.
Next person, Rachel Zumo.
Okay, I have two topics, pre-K counts and mass. Real quick, I want to mention how disappointed I am in the board's decision to not renew the Robinson Elementary classroom for pre-K counts. Your supposed reason for doing so makes no sense. Without getting into all the details that I've been made privy to, I think something is extremely suspicious here, and I promise that it will come to light someday. Now, on to my thoughts about the mask. I will refuse to mask my children every single day. I will continue to against this and demand a constitutional rejection. There are literally hundreds of families in this community who are willing to do whatever it takes to stand against this ridiculous mandate. If we need to lawyer up, then that's what we'll do. If we have to pull our children from the district and homeschool them, then that's what we'll do. Do not expect us to back down. We are here for the long haul. It would be so easy to just comply, but my conscience won't let me do that because we do not know the long-term effects of these masks being worn on our children. Their brains are still developing. They need the oxygen to help their brains function properly, especially in a learning environment. I could sit here and list at least 50 reasons why I don't agree with this mandate, but most of that would be statistical and I don't have time for it tonight. However, a simple Google search can help you find reliable sources with real studies to prove the negative effects of extended masking. I've yet to find a study that proves this is a safe practice. Do you know why? It's because it's never been done, ever. Our kids have become science experiments, and I will not allow mine to be a part of it.
Thank you, Rachel. Next up, Meredith Hendrick.
Lower this a little bit. Alright. I'm Meredith Henry. I live in Robinson Township. I have my last of 6 children that four of my 6 children have come through Twin Valley School District. I'm grateful for being open last year. I'm grateful for the choice of mass. And you called it early. As soon as school ended last year, we were a go. And I was proud of that. And I'm still proud of that. I'm glad we're in school. I appreciate all the hard work. I know it takes a lot for what y'all do. What I'm going to read to you is between a letter and some thoughts and feelings. So thank you for this opportunity to speak. I understand the district wants to do what they believe is covering their backsides. And somehow you believe that you're correct. But actually, you are surrendering your individual school power. Hence, this includes my child's rights. There are other schools in Berks and around the state now that aren't making decisions until their next board meeting, aren't doing anything different than keeping the mask options optional, just keeping it normal, or they're not doing anything at all. And I beg you to do the same. And I'm directing this as part of a letter that I had sent to the superintendent. And this is also addressing that. Your email that you sent out caused a great amount of anxiety throughout the district. It was intentionally harmful. I asked and pleaded for you to just wait because y'all didn't have to do anything. You just waited. You didn't need to do anything last week. You reacted, and that's not okay. You chose to send an email on a holiday weekend, the last weekend of summer, which I find completely disrespectful and unprofessional. It leaves one feeling unheard and unappreciated. There's wisdom in waiting. The school board needs to give families time, resources, and a say. And until then, there shouldn't be any requirements. You also need to provide exactly what wording of new rules are in a document that you just sent out in an email, i.e. referencing laws, mandates, and wording, etc. should be provided word for word, not strung along sounding threatening. You quoted Theodore Roosevelt at the end of your email, and I asked you and the school board to be men and women of this school board, to be in the ring and fight for us, to be the first to restore hope back into our community. Why wouldn't you want Twin Valley to be first? Why wouldn't you want to help and stand with other districts in a pillar of the community? Be prepared. You need to be on the offense because this isn't the end. You can't continue to play on your heels. They are talking about shutdowns, mobile units at schools, and continuing to infringe on our rights. And we want the board to provide documentation, medical documentation of masks and anything else that you're going to try to mandate. And you're infringing on our constitutional rights. Constitutional rights are the ally rather than the enemy of public health. Preserving public health in the 21st century requires preserving respect for personal liberty. And on that note,
Don Smith. That was me changing your name, I'm sorry, but that's you're gonna speak, and did you have a copy of this that you gave us? Okay.
I'm Donna Smith. As a teacher, I learned there is not just one educational plan that fit all my students. I used at least two. Just as there is not just one COVID plan that fits all. The mask plan fits some, but not others because of health reasons. There is also the social distance plan, where classrooms, hallways, the gym, the library, and assemblies are divided into two areas, and where they go to get what they need.
Maria Edline.
I also just want to thank the board for the decisions they've made over the past couple of years. You have made me feel that my kids' education is coming first in your priorities, and that feels really good as a parent. Along with that, I would like to say another year of masks is too much for these kids. I keep hearing people say things like kids are resilient and kids will adapt, and they have to a certain degree, but it doesn't mean that this is not affecting them negatively. I have a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old in school right now. They have enough to navigate with their educational needs, their emotional, social, as they're trying to make friends and learn. They don't need the added stress and anxiety from having their face covered and from not being able to see the expressions of those around them, not being able to hear their teachers properly all the time. I feel like that is hindering them both on an educational and social level. They have started asking me to homeschool them. I don't feel that that's the best fit for our family. However, I also don't feel that I can ask them to mask for 7+ hours a day when I don't have to do that myself. And I don't think it's fair that we now are faced with this decision after the school year has already started. Governor Wolf said he would allow you as a school board to make this decision, and I feel you made the right one to begin with. I've been told that by various people the board their hands are tied, they can't do anything about this, but I'm letting you know, we don't know where else to go. I messaged representatives, the governor, and I feel very unheard from all aspects. So I'm just begging you to do what you possibly can to protect our children without the masks.
Thank you, Maria. Wait for Bill. Elizabeth Oxenford.
We're a little shorter, sorry. Here,
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Oxenford. I went to Twin Valley Middle School, and I want to talk about the mask. Last year, when I had to wear a mask at school, it was very hard to be focused and just paying attention in general. This year was a lot better because I didn't have to wear one. I can breathe better, which means I can focus better. Math was a struggle for me last year because I'm already really bad with math, so trying to focus on the teacher and having to focus on breathing differently because of the mask was really hard. I struggled all year doing my work, but this year it was a lot easier since I can focus on my teacher and not have my mask. I can actually breathe and focus now. Last year I had headaches all the time, and it is from the mask. We only had one mask, which the mask would be in my eyes when I was trying to read a book. My mom said I might have to start wearing one if the school doesn't under the doctor's code, and I'm upset because I feel like I'm going to fail all my classes, and wearing a mask is hard for me to breathe and focus. So if I have to wear one now, it's going to be very sad for me. Please let me and the other students make their choice if we want to wear masks. I would rather lose out of school than wear a mask all day. Thank you for listening to me, and please consider my request. Thank you for your time.
Should I go ahead? Okay. That's my daughter, who I'm very proud of, and I thought. Okay. For those of you who don't know Elizabeth, that took, sorry, you're gonna get me, that took a lot of courage. Okay, I'm sorry, the mama bear is coming out, and I'm gonna try and keep it in. Not at you, just, that took a lot for her. You know, I'm getting broke. Let me just fix my paper, okay. Good evening, board members, Dr. Winters, and the other members of our district who are here representing Twin Valley. Thank you for taking the time to work on our school board, making incredibly hard decisions. It made me turn tonight, as it has been in the past few board meetings and last year, is masking. Listening to lawyers, advocates, and senators has really opened my eyes to see how much our government gets away with violating our constitutional rights, and it is ridiculous. Many people are saying, speak to our board and administration about the law, it's not emotions, but as you can see, I'm a very emotional person. My heart is on my sleeve all day, every day, whether I'm with my own kids, whether I'm teaching my students, that is what it is. Take it or leave it, it's what it is. The latest thing that I was reading is that in order for our children to have a mask exemption, is to be done through a 504 plan. Now, I am very familiar with this process, and I know that my children may or may not qualify for that. I don't have a long list of medical documentation showing my kids' anxiety from school, because we deal with it as a family, and the teachers have been fantastic helping them through that since kindergarten. But that doesn't mean that these masks are not affecting them because they would qualify for a 504. My daughter, who just spoke tonight, struggled with serious anxiety about school until probably about 3rd grade. She would cry before we left for school. She would cry at school. I worked at her building as a building sub. She would come find me upset because she was just so nervous about being in school. She would go visit the nurse for the magic mints that made her tummy feel better. Nothing was wrong with her, just her anxiety. She went to 3rd grade with Mr. Brennan, had Mr. Darren in 4th, gone, completely gone. Went to middle school nervous, loved every minute of it. Last year the mask bothered her, she tolerated it, but she struggled. This year when we told her no masks are required, she was, as you can see, the happiest kid ever. Then we told her, you're gonna probably have to wear it because of blah, 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 blah. She's not a happy kid about it. She struggles academically when she has to wear the mask on her face. We spent our entire summer maskless. Like it or don't like it, that was our family's choice. We went to summer camp, we visited grandparents, we traveled, and we had the best time.
We know that you are receiving pressure to follow this illegal mandate that is in place. I'm not sure if others have told you or will tell you, but in order to use the law that you used in place, you're supposed to prove there was an outbreak. There was no outbreak. It should not be in place. On a separate note, I wanted to thank Mr. Darren, the principal at Robinson, and Mrs. Lucia, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, and the principal at the middle school for acknowledging September 11th with our children, teaching them about what that means. It's important for our children to understand how lucky they are and what an amazing armed force we have. I ask you that you help us protect their rights as they are doing for us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
Brian Schechter Gas. Did I say that right?
Well, Trekking gas.
Oh, okay. The R and E kind of together, sorry.
Hi, I'm Brian Trekking gas. This is my daughter, Julia. Just a couple of things. We support the board on masks, all of you. We were in class last year, and our gratitude for actually getting the students in class doesn't go unrecognized. We thought y'all did a great job having us here. For those who opposed it, I hope you understand now why that was so important and that it could be done and that we did it successfully. And I hope you change your minds in the future. And as we see, one thing leads to another. Last year was about getting in class. Thank God we got in. This year was about no masks. Thank God you pulled it off. We're in. However, now it seems like the board caved. Pressure. Pressure on administrators, threatening salaries maybe, as we hear rumors. Pressure on board from certain people in the community to make a decision that didn't need to be made now. And frankly, it doesn't need to be made at all, because one thing it starts out is in school. You fought that, you won. Then it turns into masks. You fought that, we won, lost. What's next? If you keep jumping through these hoops, they're going to keep putting more hoops in front of you. You will never get to the end. You become a trained monkey to just follow. There's a hoop in front of me, I have to jump. There's a hoop, I have to jump and jump and jump. And the more we jump, the more hoops they will lay, and we show how much power we've given the government to lay those in front of us, and we get down and we crawl through them. We have to draw the line in the sand for our children. That's where this has to stop. Their voice, although quiet at the moment, unbelievably, is immense. And passion in this room, this is just a small fraction. The majority don't want masks. There is great passion in this community. Just to continue forward socially, emotionally, these kids getting back in school last year was huge. Without masks, these kids develop differently. There's kids who have IEPs for speech. They are not developing. There's young kids who need to see faces in order to develop their speech. The detriment we're doing, we don't see today when these decisions are made. The detriment's going to be in the future when these kids don't develop. We're being laughed at around the world the way this is handling. Europe, they don't wear masks. China, they don't wear masks. All these other places, they are not wearing masks in schools. We look like fools. We look like fools. And the final thing is the injunction. Why wasn't one filed by this board? Why was there not an emergency meeting? My understanding is that the pressure came from an unelected official that advises this board. We do not elect that unelected official that advises this board. We elect you all. Governor and an unelected health care person who previously was in charge of this pandemic in this state. An unelected official should not have the power of the people. You do. Thank you.
Brian. Matt Rarick.
Good evening, guys. The donkey says to the tiger, "You know the grass is actually blue." The tiger replies, "No, the grass is green." The debate gets heated. Two animals decide to take the argument to the king of the jungle to see whether the grass truly is blue or green. Before reaching the clearing in the jungle where the lion sits on his throne, the donkey starts screaming ahead, "Your Highness, isn't it true that the grass is actually blue?" The lion replies, "The grass is in fact blue." The donkey continues to rush forward and says, "The tiger disagrees with me, contradicts everything I say, and annoys me. Please punish him." The lion then declares the tiger will be punished with 5 years of silence. The donkey jumps with joy, trots home repeating, "See, I always knew the grass was actually blue." The lion responds, oh, all right, hold on. Wait, I lost the place. Okay, so the tiger says, the tiger accepts his punishment and asks, "Your Majesty, why have you punished me? After all, the grass is green." The lion responds, "The grass is in fact green, but the reason for your punishment has nothing to do with the question of whether the grass is blue or green. The punishment is for you to learn that it's not possible for a brave, intelligent creature like you to waste your time arguing with donkeys. The worst waste of time is arguing with a fool or a fanatic who doesn't care about truth or reality and only cares about victory of his own beliefs and illusions. Never waste time on a discussion that makes no sense. There are plenty of people that, when presented with all of the evidence, don't have the ability to understand. Some are blinded by ego. Some it's just hatred, resentment of their own past and their own faults that they try to project on others. The only thing that these people want is to be right, even when they're not right. The story is exactly what's going on in our school right now and in our country at large. Some people, despite all the logic, all the fact that you want to put in front of them, just care about being right, if anything else, for their own self-vindication. Our school did do the right thing by leaving it up to the parents when it comes to making health decisions for our own children. Despite what you think about politics, masks, vaccines, etc., by our schools saying that the parents know best for their children, that was the right call. The school did not tell people who don't want to, or who do want to wear masks, that they can't wear them or else fill out an exemption form. And let's just pause there for a moment and think about if the shoe was on the other foot, okay? If the school did say, "You know what, there's little to no risk for kids, masks have been proven time and time again to be ineffective at stopping transmission of virus, masks do clearly have negative side effects on children and their ability to learn and grow, while being told that the very air they breathe is toxic, and based on all of these things, we believe that it is the best thing for our children to not wear masks." Could we imagine what this school district would look like right now? I think everybody here would agree that things would be a little chaotic, okay? So I don't want to hear from any person on the school board or in a leadership position in our school district saying that you're damned if you do or damned if you don't, because the school board did do what was right and left it up to the parents. If you are still worried about your children, you can still put your children in masks. No one has ever said that you can't do that, nor will anybody, or should anybody ever say that, because this is still America. If you want your kids in masks, the school board allowed you to have that choice. But this is why I started the story with the donkey and the tiger. Because for some, the choice to make your own decisions for your family is all well and good until those decisions and choices contradict your very own. The only reason we're here tonight standing up for freedom is because when leaving it up to the individual to make their own decisions, one side of the aisle thinks it's a great idea and leaves it at that. The other side of the aisle thinks that having your own freedom to make your own decisions about your own personal agency only applies to certain laws, but not all, okay? This is absolutely not about our children. It's not about the safety or health of our children. It's about political posturing, virtue signaling, and simply just wanting to be right no matter the cost. Ironically, this past weekend was 9/11. 20 years ago, when we were attacked, this was the beginning of a very slippery slope in our country in the name of emergency when our civil liberties began to erode. At the time, it was celebrated by Republicans who cheered on Bush for these civil liberty infringements, and today it's now Democrats cheering on Biden for eroding even more of our personal freedoms. And whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, we all lose when we forfeit the rights and freedoms willingly in the name of emergencies and safety. When rights are given up by people,
Hey, Matt, in fairness to everybody else, we held them to 3 minutes.
okay, I have one more paragraph.
I mean, we're all intrigued.
When rights are given up by the people, it's very hard to get them back, especially because those in power will find ways to continue the emergency. Remember, this all started with a 2-week shutdown, and now it's turned into, if you don't get a vaccine that's experimental, now you can't feed your family. So if anybody here thinks that the mandates will stop with just 100 people in a 100-person company, it's going to turn into 50-person companies and 10-person companies and 5-person companies. It's not going to go away. Okay, so tonight isn't just about masking the kids. It's about standing up to protect everyone's freedom against tyranny, even if you believe that somebody else across the aisle has a terrible idea. Okay, the school board, you have our support here, right, to do what's right and fight for our kids.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
Teresa Fiddler.
I want to say first off, I'm really happy to see that you guys have a choice to wear a mask or not on the stage. If we are utilizing masks as a form of medical prevention of disease or virus, would this not be considered a medical treatment? Children are being forced to take part in this prevention method without their right to informed consent being taken into consideration. Informed consent is a process of communication between a person and their health provider that leads to an agreement or permission for care, treatment, and services. Every patient has the right to get information and ask questions before procedures and treatments. However, with children as young as 2 years old being forced to endure masking, while healthy, they're being denied their right to informed consent. Children are being forced to choose between masking when they do not understand the benefits or possible adverse health effects. Their right to access to free, equal, and public education, that's the decision that they're having to make, just as my niece told you about earlier. Parents are being forced to choose between working after demolishing the economy with the orders and mandates for 2 years, whether or not they're going to send their child to school or put food on the table. They're not being given the chance to exercise their right to decline this medical procedure. Doctors are being threatened with the loss of their licenses. Educators are being threatened with the loss of their licenses. Nurses are being fired for exercising their right to informed consent. This order violates multiple laws and rights provided to us as a free people, and this school district is allowing it to happen here. The division that this has caused families and friends to go their separate ways. It has incited hate from maskers and non-maskers. It has created ample opportunity for bullying and unkindness from students and adults alike. The division in this community is a direct response to the pressures being placed on the local government, who then places pressures on the community. In a sense, not only did this order take power away from the local government, who did as they deemed best for their community, only to be overridden because the state government was mad that you did not do what they wanted you to do. It has created division between the school board and school officials and their community of parents and students. The division creates a loss of respect and a loss of power. And I want to interrupt what I wrote because I will rabbit trail. I agree with everybody when I say you guys did a fantastic job. Alright, well, it'll be more. When compared to other districts, TVSB has been a leader from the beginning in fighting for choice. We were one of the only districts open full-time last year with multiple options available. We were allowed for choice this year. The right to choose what is best for the families has been a priority to this district. And now the right for this district to choose what is right for their community has been taken from them. Other states are already pushing vaccinations into the schools. Parents in Corpus Christi, Texas are being asked to sign a consent form that releases all liability from their district if the children receive the vaccine and become ill or die. It was just announced today that a vaccine for children ages 5 through 12 will be available by Halloween. If we as a district do not fight this mask mandate, how are we going to fight forced vaccinations? I understand this issue is above the local level right now, but the local level is where the fight needs to begin. Everyone here, did you turn me off? Everyone here, I don't need a mic. Everyone here needs to fight for the right of freedom of choice. I have with me a letter written by attorney Eric Winters, an attorney that has fought Governor Wolf and won all the way up to the Supreme Court. Please take the time to read it. At the end, there are some questions that school board members should be asking their legal consultation, and I hope that you will take the time to have these conversations. Please fight alongside us parents. We are fighting a giant. We need our elected officials to support us. Many states, governments, PA county sheriffs, NDAs have all issued statements regarding the illegality of the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates. Please accept this letter that I have printed and prepared for each of you, and consider what your ethical obligations are.
We only have 3 minutes per person.
I understand, I'm almost done.
One speak, and we can't let through now if we.
As a district, even if you were to accept this order as law, which it is not, the requirement of a doctor's note, or even the possibility of requiring it to be part of a 504 plan like other districts, are all asking, and they're added violations to the rights of the children that you serve. This order does not call for it, and these requests are added fuel to the division that's happening here. I finish simply by saying this. Authoritarianism is the enforcement of advocacy of strict obedience to the authority at the expense of personal freedom. And the last time I checked, we live in a republic. We won't become like Congress if we allow our government, which is supposed to protect our rights and not our health, to continue using fear and ongoing emergencies to steal our personal freedom away. It happens gradually, and before we know it, we are asking ourselves the same questions that the people in Germany were asking when they realized what was happening. How did we let this happen? We need to learn from history and not let it get repeated. Additionally, and on a different subject, I am formally requesting for the school board to add to the next session agenda a new vote. Please vote to either close the high school bathroom doors or to hire a female security guard. There is a petition started by students this past week, which has reached 650 signatures as of 5:30 p.m. tonight. It can be found on change.org.
What's that for?
The bathroom?
Bathroom doors in the high school are left open. My understanding is that it's for security purposes. I have been told by multiple students, past and present, that it creates unsafe situations for them. Yeah, I appreciate that.
That particular situation was brought to our attention last week, and we took steps in high school administration, and the doors are now being shut.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Teresa, see what you started, Matt? Kyle, you're Kyle Lawyer.
Set the time.
You gonna make it 3 or you gonna?
3 minutes?
Only you.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize if I get emotional here, because I went to school here, K through 12, and I had teachers who shaped and formed who I was. I learned civic duties. I did 2 combat tours in the United States Marine Corps. I fought for our rights overseas. And now I'm in our auditorium. Somebody who I respect very much taught me that being a parent or a teacher is like being a shipbuilder. The harder you work, the better that ship is going to weather the storm someday. There is a teacher here tonight who doesn't know it, but they shaped me in 10th grade. They don't work for Twin Valley anymore. There's another teacher who got me into my profession as an engineer. They don't work for Twin Valley anymore. And I had to guess they're both political reasons. Because they don't feel safe here. They don't feel like they can be who they're supposed to be. They don't believe they have rights here. And now the students feel the same way. The parents feel the same way. There's 2 people on this board that I respect more than anybody else on the board. I'm diametrically opposed to them politically. But when I call them, they'll call and try to explain why they feel that way. We're actually fundamentally grounded on the issues. We want what's best for the students. They always come very prepared to your meetings. They always ask questions no matter what it is. They do the research. And they never vote against what they believe, ever. Okay? There are 7 people on the board who need to think about the facts and their conscience. They're sitting up here without masks right now, and they can bring it to a vote tonight. There's nothing in the rules say you can't. Bring it to a vote. Guide with your right. Guide with our right. We have nowhere else to go. My kids will not be putting on another mask. This is not the forum to discuss the science. Whenever I make a decision for my family, I look at science. I do research. I have an engineering degree in electromechanical engineering. I built a drone that did the first successful flight at a professional sporting event. That came from teachers who instilled a very strong hall in me. Let's start building the hall of our children right now. And let's start it with a vote. I call for a vote from the board right now, tonight, on if we're going to enforce this mandate or not. You say you're against it. We heard from the other speakers. What comes next?
Vaccinations.
Who knows? Start with a vote. Stand up.
I
second the vote. Thank you for your time.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
It takes one person to request it and one person to second it. We've heard enough from the solicitor. We didn't vote you in. The vote may mean nothing.
Legally, you can.
Do you need it to be on the agenda to vote, or can any member bring something up and have a second?
Next Monday, then.
Legally, you can vote on the agenda. Legally, you can do that, and you just put it in the next.
Put it on the next one.
No, you can put it on you can do it right now, legally. Then you have to put it in your agenda. If everybody agrees, so you can vote on it now. It has nothing to do with money.
We can't hear you. Take off your mask.
Yeah, you can't even hear what you're saying.
Well, listen closely, there's nothing for the board to vote on tonight, there's no.
How is there nothing for the board to vote on? How is there nothing for the board to
This is
vote
an
on?
order from the state that doesn't.
It's not law!
It's in court. You shouldn't be doing anything, there's a court case
How
order.
about instead of hearing from the solicitor, we hear from the people we voted in? What do they think?
An injunction hearing on Thursday. No, it's not an injunction hearing on Thursday. You're gonna throw it out.
Put it on the agenda!
You get a file.
Bring it to
Put it on the agenda! Put it on the agenda!
Hang on a second, we're talking about
You could have stopped.
several different
We didn't
things.
even need to be here. We
Talk
didn't need
about
to be
one
here.
thing. Let's vote on if the kids should wear masks on Monday.
Yes.
Like maybe.
The sunshine law is not.
So let's get it on the agenda for next Monday night's meeting.
We'll all be here.
Can we do that? Does the public need to do anything to get it on the agenda for next
We
week?
can refer it to administration to put something on the agenda, but we cannot take action on something that's not on the agenda. That is a law that has to end.
For the record, I spoke to 3 different individuals on the board who told me that is not the case 2 weeks ago, that it could come to a vote.
Well, the sunshine.
We don't want to hear from We want to hear from the people.
I didn't cite any laws, I said what needs to happen. The representatives of the people have the right. Stop being coerced into fear! Our kids are who should be fearful right now!
David
cannot vote on something that's not on the agenda.
I'm asking,
Yes, you
why
can.
was it not on the agenda tonight then?
Amend the agenda now.
We can't. The sunshine law was. Are you gonna listen or are you gonna yell back at me?
Go ahead, yes.
The sunshine law was changed and it went into effect at the end of August. That does not allow us to put things on the agenda the night of the meeting.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Actually,
There's another meeting next week, right?
that's, you can still vote on it.
We can refer it to administration for something to be put on a following agenda.
But Gary, you can put on the agenda. You guys vote for it. It can be put on right now.
Because it doesn't fit the agenda.
Listen, what the law says is that we can't. But we can put it on a subsequent meeting. We can't amend the agenda. We can't take it as an emergency.
Okay, so let's have a meeting tomorrow night and let's put it on the agenda.
You have to advertise public meetings in advance, so you can't do it that quickly.
So what's the quickest?
I mean, there's plenty of people here to advertise it.
Overnight though, right? The best we can do is refer it to administration to be put on the agenda for next week's meeting.
Okay, but you still didn't answer my question.
What was your
Why
question?
was it not on the agenda tonight?
Why is it?
Why wasn't it on the agenda tonight?
What would we vote on?
Should our kids be wearing masks or not?
We started school with giving you the option.
No, she's
Right, so is that still the policy
So has
then?
that changed?
Yes, it's changed. That's why we're all
You
here.
have the option.
No, they don't.
Not by the emails.
also those that make this rejected if they're not signed by doctors.
Yes.
And all the doctors are politically one way.
Yeah, you forgot to add that.
This is not supposed to be.
In an emergency, in emergency use,
It's not a law.
My child, over 14 years old, is not, I cannot tell them what to medically do, and they decide. If they sit here, which I have gone through this, if you really want me to bring it up, I have had a daughter that said that she wanted to hurt herself, and she went, and I had nothing to do, and she went to the hospital. This is medical. Over 14, we need to do K through 12 to protect under 14-year-olds, because I know dang straight that over 14, that kid can go into that school and tell you, this is what I want medically, and nobody, as an adult, can tell them that they are wrong in what they want in medical. And if you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask, and if they don't, they don't. But these kids under 14 need it. That's why we're all here. Our kids got to 14 years old, but what about the kids that are under 14? And that's the law, the medical law. So you want to talk about laws and that for 14 and over, that is the law.
Can I make a suggestion that we continue through the comments and then Dr. Winters can address some of the issues that were brought up as far as voting on what we can vote on, when we can vote on it and all that. How about we continue with that?
Thank you.
If we have discussion. Ashley Rarick.
Excuse me, you shut it off.
Oh, he took your time? Now that's a good deal. Thank you. Shane Frank. I can put you at the back again. There's still a couple people to go yet.
Now, I think a lot of them helps me out. I'm completely against the masks. So are my kids. I have an oxygen monitor here. I have documentation from OSHA and what the reasons and causes you can get from lack of oxygen to your bloodstream. So first, you need oxygen 19.5 to 23.5% for your body, according to OSHA. I do confined spaces. I rely on this to keep me safe. This is a meter I use. It tells me what gases are there and my oxygen content. So, if I wear my mask and put this on, stick this in here, breathe in normal. In seconds,
I'm gonna be below my limit. I'm reading 18.3. So it went all the way down to 17.3 in that short couple seconds. According to OSHA, I am to get out of the hole because my life is in danger. All right? So if I do not get out of that hole in time, I can get hypoxia, which is shortness of breath while resting, severe shortness of breath after physical activity, waking up out of breath, sneezing, frequent coughing. What else? Other complications if it's untreated: depression, fatigue, headache, confusion, high blood pressure, pulmonary hypertension, increased heart rate, heart failure, acute respiratory failure. I need to go on. So you're asking our kids to wear these masks for 7 hours a day. Even if they get breaks, it's still doing damage to their body.
I just want to clear up. I don't think anybody here thinks that you guys are the ones that are saying this.
Yeah.
We're saying that you need to stand up for our kids.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Shane. No problem. Steve Phillips.
I'm going to read a letter that I didn't end up sending today. So. Dear Dr. Winters and the board, thank you for your hard work and ongoing efforts to support the district and the students. I've been disheartened by recent efforts by Governor Wolf in an attempt to wrestle control from you, your administration, and from the TVSB. There needs to be local control over our education and well-being of our children, as it has been originally structured. In conversations with other frustrated parents, I'm not alone. In order to help rein in Harrisburg's efforts to marginalize your responsibility, I hope to understand that you've been exploring an injunction, as some other districts have done in the Commonwealth, including the fellow Berks County district. Wolf's efforts are even after the voters decided to, so to speak, clip his wings in the spring to prevent such abuse of power. So his actions are even more egregious, out of touch with the will of the Pennsylvania voter, and should be fought by this TVSB administration. The district should not allow this disrespectful overreach to your responsibilities to continue. May I also ask that you share and post any studies regarding efficacy and safety that Pennsylvania DOH or DOE have provided the district and the districts in the state, to try to alleviate any concerns that many have children having to wear masks 8 hours a day, as we just saw, which is just ridiculous. And as somebody else said earlier, I don't think they've been able to share anything, or at least nothing's been shared with us. So we have to think that they have nothing, but yet they're still doing this. Yet there's many studies out there that speak to the health and learning risks and increased anxiety and depression for many students during the government's response the past 18 months. I haven't seen the state sharing anything in public that would mitigate those concerns that many parents have. And if they're sharing any of that with you, Dr. Winters, please share it with all these people. Obviously, we're not seeing any of it. We really need your help. The governor and his administration owe it to you, to the board, and to the voters of this state to deliver real data and evidence that they even know what they're doing at this point. It feels like they're just grasping at this illegal end-around mandate that they're attempting to impose against the will of the voters who told him in the voter box he doesn't deserve to have those types of authority anymore. He's referencing some obscure
30 seconds to go.
As he knows he doesn't really have the right to overrule yours and the board's local decisions with his dictates. It's not a true governor mandate based on those facts, and he's trying to get the DOH and DOE to do his bidding, and they don't have that level of authority over you. The district should have no real responsibility to adhere to anything that Harrisburg is pushing with how they handle this. Decisions like this should be at local representation, not top-down bureaucratic overreach. Just in August, Wolf himself admitted how decisions should be left up to school boards and district administration. So, I'll cut it out. I'm like everybody else.
Thank you, Steve. Next speaker is Erica Springer.
I swore I was going to talk tonight. I'm Erica Springer. I live in Glenarvan. First, I want to thank Christine Osborne personally. I appreciated having the Zoom meetings and seeing her in action, and she always was a voice of reason. She was always very well prepared. And most importantly, I think she brought a moderate view to the board, which I would really encourage you all, despite some being on farther one end or the other, to really engage in that. I think it's something that adds balance and is important. I also want to thank the board. I think we have a lot in common in this room, in that we kept our kids in school last year, and as a nurse for 20 years and a nurse practitioner for the past 10, working with women and children, I get to hear lots of stories from various areas outside of Twin Valley in Montgomery County, where they were hit very hard with COVID early on. And at the end of the day, we all know that we did the right thing. Our kids are much better off for the options they had last year, and I very much appreciate that, as many of you have said. So thank you for that. Like I said, I wasn't talking. But what I want to say about that too is, at the end of the day, it worked. My kids wore masks last year. They didn't complain about it. Like I said, I've been a nurse for 20 years. I've worn masks in many hours. OSHA, where were you? I was a little concerned with that. My doctors that I work with very closely, who are very intelligent, who have been wearing masks for 20 years, they appreciate the passion and where you guys are all coming from. But I also want to say, we did kind of do a science experiment last year, and at the end of the day, overall our numbers were very, very low. There was very little to no transmission in school because all of our kids were masked, and I think that that's important to note as well. I just would urge the board going further with any decisions that they make, that they really, truly think with their scientific minds and looking at studies, and not use our children as political pawns, and I think that goes for both sides. So thank you.
Next speaker is Amanda Carter.
Job to get up here because I know we all have to be here. So I'll be brief. I'm Amanda Carwick. I know most of you. I'm a neighbor with one of you. I have a child who's a senior this year, and she unfortunately couldn't be here because she had a prior commitment. She wanted me to say thank you so much for letting the kids be in person last year and this year. She got a lot out of it, and she wanted to say, why would we change what worked last year? Masking worked last year. It wasn't always fun. She didn't love going to the prom with a mask, but it worked. I do not want her home in quarantine again. I think I saw Bethlehem just shut down school because they had too many cases. I don't want to go back. Masking worked for us last year. Why would we change it? Secondly, I am a fiscal conservative. I live in a moderate house. I keep control of my bills. I worry about my taxes. If you guys go against the state, you open us up to lawsuits, you open us up to fines. I don't want to pay that. I don't want to kick my elderly neighbors out of their houses because their taxes go up. I expect fiscal responsibility from the board. I expect you to follow the mandates that would cost us money if we went against them. I yield my time. Thank you all very much for all the work you've done. I can't tell you how appreciate it. Thank you.
on a choice.
First, Oscar. If I mispronounced that, I'm sorry.
No, you did good. You could have really messed it up, but. Okay. If I get emotional, if I'm all over the place, about 5-6 months, I got hit at 55, 60 miles an hour, and I developed a concussion, so I just tried my best, and I'm just gonna go with it, okay? So thank you for letting each parent, as well as myself, speak tonight. So sorry for us, as some of us are so emotional, including myself. I have a son, which I have a daughter as well, but this situation, I wanted to bring up the mask. I have a son who is ASD, and for those who don't know what ASD means, it stands for Autism Spectrum Disorder. Although he has autism, he is on the high functioning side, which also entails him to be on the genius side. His brain runs faster than normal, and at times he compulsively says words that those of us that have typical brain function can think and stop before we say or do things. He also has tics, grunges, which come out physical as well as verbal, and he cannot help at the moment when the words or noises or tics happen. They get stuck in his brain and they just miraculously have to come out. My son needs to both see and hear directly what is being told of him, and at times it takes him over 3 attempts or different cues to follow through. Last year, with the so-called mask mandate, K through 12, he was sent up to the office over 6 times in 1 year and was disciplined with in-school suspension due to teachers not giving direct attention. And most of the time was not being able to see his whole face. They proudly seen that, only seeing his eyes, that my son was not looking at them, which they implied that he was being disrespectful. The teachers and staff, as well as other students, could not directly communicate fully with him. And I'm not saying I'm upset with staff. My situation, as well as everyone in here, is totally different each and every time individually. And no, it did not work for our situation. What works best for you will not work for me. So if you want to wear the mask, I every day have to communicate with my child, as well as teachers and staff and other students. The mask situation causes him anxiety, fear, emotional stress, creating tics for him. He is older now and suppresses a lot of tics throughout the day and have extreme tics at home. These include him whistling, clapping, noises, etc. It can go anywhere from a clap like this to a This year I signed the mask exempt, and that's the only thing I will sign. My son was diagnosed with ASD, and I do not feel that I need a doctor's note. There are so many other students that have needs that are different than my son, and or maybe be the same. I will not mask up my son or daughter, and I will not have my son, daughter, nor my rights as a parent stripped. I appreciate everybody tonight, and that's my situation, and we all have a situation, and we need to stick together on it, because what works for you doesn't work for everybody.
Thank you, Marlana. Our last speaker, last name's real. I'm sorry I can't read the first name. Herb. Oh, okay. Now I thought it was Mrs. I thought it was Marv.
I hope I don't look like Mrs.
You do have some glorious hair though.
Sorry.
All right, so I just want to thank everybody that's on the board. I appreciate what you do for this school. I'm up here to fight for my kids. When people try to tell me how to deal with my kids, there's a lion that starts roaring inside, and then there's an end. They're my kids, and you guys just heard like all the things that it does to a kid. My kids are not going to wear a mask. End of story. And they're going to I was here last Tuesday. We were here to support the kids that didn't wear a mask. We were down at the middle school, and we saw busloads of kids walking into school wearing masks. And to me, that was very sad. All these little kids walking into school. You just heard the OSHA report. what it does to you, and all these little kids are forced every day to wear a mask. That is harmful to their brains and to their bodies, okay? Like, you guys can fight for our kids. I will stand behind anyone. I will fight. I don't care what I have to do. I will fight for my kids. I will fight for anybody's kids to have a right. We live in America. It's supposed to be a free country. And when kids are in school, they get bullied. You know what bullies are? A bunch of cowards. People stand up to them, bullies will come down. And that's what the government's doing. And as long as we bow down, they're going to bully us even more. Vaccinations, all this crap. And I'm sick and tired of it. And when people don't stand up for what's right for our country, and I lose respect for people like that, we got to stand up for what's right. You guys are at this place. Maybe God put you in this place for this time right now to make right decisions. And I also work construction, and you can get, until 2020, you could get fined for wearing a mask to work. OSHA would fine you for that because they know it's harmful for you. It's harmful. Everybody says follow the signs. Then follow the freaking signs. It's harmful for you. And I want you guys have families. You guys have kids. You have stuff to do. And I appreciate you putting it on the board. I'm just begging you to fight for our kids. I'll support anybody that's going to fight for the rights of America. And if we continue, like somebody else said, to bow down to these hoops and crawl through them, they're going to do more and more. And I haven't heard the government punish anybody. I haven't heard anybody get punished because of all their, we're going to do this and that to you. Let's just try it, see what they do. They're a bunch of bullies. If we think we'll be I hope that this is not coming as any disrespect to anybody. I appreciate your time and effort, but please, be the ones to stand up for what's right. Just do it, okay? We'll support you guys. We're behind you guys. My kids aren't wearing masks, and I sure hope that nobody in school is threatening them. I've never taken anybody to court, and I don't believe in that, but I will fight for my kids. I'll spend whatever I need to. My kids have a right. And me and my wife, we're going to pull our kids out and do something else. We're like, no, we're going to teach our kids to fight for what's right. Because in 10 years, they could be in that spot. And if we don't teach our kids now, in 5 or 10 years, the government's going to tell them to jump off the cliff. They're going to jump off. Thank you.
Thank you, Murray. Is there anyone else? That's the last green card we have.
Can I fill out one?
Hurry up. No, you can fill out one.
I didn't intend to speak tonight, clearly. But I have to.
Here it's supposed. Shane, next row.
I just want to add one thing, if possible. That the school district asked the teachers that if a student doesn't wear a mask, not to harass them and to call the parents directly.
My name's Christine. Hold on for those of you who don't know me. I see people in here on both sides who I really care about and love. And I'm really disappointed that situations like this have brought us into a room fighting because we're all passionate about this. So thank you everyone for being here, for caring about your kids as much as I do. I didn't write anything intelligent down because I spent the day-to-day driving my daughter around to doctor appointments and because she was just rear-ended on Saturday. So, different story. Nothing intelligent coming out of here, but I want to say that one size doesn't fit all. You guys understand that as educators and people who care about our children. One size never fits all. From what I understand, in order to be exempt from wearing a mask, these children are going to need to qualify for a 504 plan, which is nearly impossible. I mean, not impossible, some students will, but many students who are really adversely affected by masks will not qualify into a 504 plan. I've spoken to a pediatrician, 3 doctors, pediatrician, hematologist, and another doctor, my daughters, and none of them will give a mask exemption, even though she probably should have one. I'm not going to go into her personal medical situation up here, nor should anyone have to. But as a parent, I know what's best for my child, and now that decision's been taken out of my hands. And I think that there's a lot of disheartened parents who feel the same way. And I don't want to fight with people I love who believe masks work. They have a choice to put a mask on their child, and I think that's great. I think they should, because I think that's best for their children. Even and if their children are old enough, they can even get them vaccinated. But what choice do we have as parents who just want our kids to breathe oxygen? We think that's best for them. We think they function best with oxygen to their brains. And that's why we're going to continue to come up here and beg and plead for you guys. You didn't have to make a decision right away. That's what I've been writing to you since Friday, since we got the email. Please, Dr. Winter, please take the time. Whenever these mandates have been put out, then we wait for guidance. We wait for the specifications from the orders to get put into place, so we know from the agencies how they need to be put into place. We didn't do that, and I'm just asking, take the time, take as much time as you can, so that parents have as much role in this decision, and the local school district has as much, because Pennsylvania as a state is not supposed to be making this decision. Local governing bodies are, and the case that they're using was a gonorrhea outbreak. That's a case they were using. This is not an outbreak, this isn't a local outbreak. They're taking it to the entire state on something that is not specific enough to take the best actions for our children. Thank you.
I want to say one more thing, please.
Really?
Yeah.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Number one, I think everybody in this room, most everybody in this room, would agree that with something as serious as what's going on right now, not only with the kids but across our country, I think it's absolutely insane and ridiculous that somebody over here who no one here voted in is telling us when we can and can't speak, and time's up, like, please, we don't need to hear from you. And then also, everyone up here that is wearing masks, even though you're still wearing a mask, we can still see you guys rolling your eyes when we say something that you disagree with, just so you know.
Just to clarify, if our policy is 3 minutes, if we want to change it, make it 5, we change the policy. She's only doing what we told her to do, so don't beat her up for that.
On Monday, can we have that on the agenda too, for 5 minutes? It's not a joke.
All I'm saying is, with the circumstances and how serious things are, I think there should be some exemptions, and somebody shouldn't be sitting on a timer saying, time's up, shut the mic off.
Yeah, completely negates what we're trying to do.
Completely negates what we're trying to get across.
It's only a couple of over 3 minutes, so the percentage is kind of.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't care about
I
what
understand what you're saying, and I think actually the best thing here is that you guys are here and you're mad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Here we are now.
Yeah.
18 months later, our government's been slashing it to all of us. So finally, we're here.
Right.
But so we do have 3 minutes, and the 3 minutes is for you as well. So everybody can get to talk, otherwise we'll be here till midnight.
I don't think anybody would care though.
I think they would.
Nobody here cares.
But so thank you for being here. And go along.
Can I speak?
You gotta fill out a green card.
Somebody order pizza.
Please fill out the card.
All right.
We're here for the kids and that, but does teachers have the obligation to have to wear a mask?
That the same ability that, we as board members, you as parents can do. They can fill out the exemption, just like we do.
So where does
But
the
is
school
that
board
gonna be
stand
an
on the
exemption that they fill out? Is that gonna be an exemption they just fill out? Or they have to have a doctor's note what I need from you, then sometimes, you know what I mean, is that exempt to that time in class that he has with each individual teacher, if they choose that this works better for my son to not even wear a shield? If they have their own personal preference?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think part of the order, there is an exception for when you're talking to someone who's hearing impaired, and I can't remember if there's other language in there, but if there's, certainly if a teacher is talking with someone who can't hear and is hearing impaired, they can take their mask down.
Can I just ask also, you guys get to sign the exemption, right? Do you have to get a doctor's note? Do you have to obey by the same rules you're making my children obey?
My comment in my case is, I'm not gonna share my medical history with you, and I'm not gonna ask you for your medical history.
I'm not mad at you, I'm not trying to be mad at you, I'm just saying that we're just frustrated because we had to go above and beyond and find a doctor to sign an exemption, and now he's in legal trouble, and it wasn't good enough, but you guys get to. Yeah.
All right, let's hear what he has to say.
All right, so, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Chuck Hill, USSC retired. I just want to say, people who say, oh, why did we change something that worked? That's completely anecdotal. Obviously, scientifically, you have no idea if the kids would have been unmasked, if that would have worked as well, and had the same case count. So I just want to say that that doesn't apply. I just want to say, obviously, you have a room full of people that have been pushed around for 18 months, and just give them some grace. They're obviously taking their frustrations out on you. We all feel an incredible amount of frustration that we're having our freedoms stripped repeatedly. Rumor has it today now that for me to go get VA care for PTSD or anything from combat tours, I have to be vaccinated. I feel like my 20 years of service in the Marine Corps earned me that VA care.
Right.
So I lost a brother-in-law to suicide after his tour in Iraq. At what point are we going to say enough is enough? We are not going to be pushed around anymore. We're tired of it. We want our personal choice. You want to put your kid in a mask? Put your kid in a mask. You want to wear a mask? Wear a mask. We don't care. But stop telling us what to do. Your science is arbitrary, and completely made up. It worked. Okay. Do you know if it wouldn't have worked? No, you don't know. No idea. But we know the science is that these masks are impacting our kids. Little kids going to elementary school. The masks, we all got to grow up and be adults with normal lives. I have to listen to my kids come home. When is this ever going to end? When am I going to have a normal life? When am I going to be able to go to school like a normal kid like you got to do, Dad? Mom got to do. It breaks my heart. This is like some of the best years of their life. And we're allowing it to just be ruined because of this fear. Please stop. Stand with us. Our rights deserve. We fought for these rights. Don't give them up. Let us have our choice. Thank you.
That concludes our public comments.
We'll see you next Monday.
Like, as you said, Dr. Winters has some comments as it relates to this, and then we have more discussion after that. So, Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. I think first and foremost, what I would like to say is that we definitely have appreciation over all of you being here this evening. Everyone's passion is evident, and everyone cares deeply about their children. And that's what makes this district great. And so we do appreciate you being here. Wanted to share some pieces, touch on a couple of things that people talked about. I know there was a concern that was expressed related to if a
a child has an exemption and they're in class, can, parents be directly, communicated with so there's not awkwardness? The answer to that question is yes. We're working directly with our administration to where, if a child, has an exemption and, maybe the teacher, forgot or the information didn't get to them, we'll work with you, absolutely. There's no desire on our end as a district to want to make kids feel uncomfortable. And along with that, with the bullying component, we've been very clear about not wanting any of our children to be bullied either way. We are taking a look at that. Let me also clarify that we talked a lot this evening about the Sunshine Law. The Sunshine Law has changed. On August 29th, it is now a law that says that, we cannot vote on something without it being on the agenda previously. If the board instructs administration to want to have an item on the agenda for next week related to this topic, it will be on the agenda, and the item will, and the agenda will be public, and people will know about it, so that if you want to come and be here for that, you can. This decision, this masking order, it's not a local decision. We as a district found out the same time about this order as everybody else in this room did. It wasn't something that we knew about far in advance or that we knew was coming. We learned of it the same time you learned of it. And while we absolutely recognize that perhaps the timing of a communication on the Friday of Labor Day weekend wasn't completely ideal, the sole reason for that was we wanted to make sure when we sent the information out that we had as much information as we possibly could to provide you with. And so, moving forward, we're going to continue as a district to follow orders and mandates. That's what we've always done in Twin Valley. That's what we're planning on continuing to do. And as soon as we get new information, we will share new information. There is supposed to be some new information coming out this week regarding the medical component. As soon as we have that, we'll get communication on the website. So again, thank you so much for being here this evening, and thank you for your comments. We do appreciate it.
What happens if we don't fill out the exemption form and we don't send our kids in masks?
Yeah, what are the consequences? Because no one seems to know what they are.
Our governor's breaking the law. That doesn't make it okay for him to keep doing this.
The order is unconstitutional, so the kids are automatically exempt.
We the people say no.
No one wants to tell us what the consequences are because there are none. They won't spell them
The
out
order
because there
specifically
aren't.
states you may not remove a child, visitor, parent, or staff for not following the mandate. It would otherwise be illegal to do so. I'd just like to remind the
And
school
we have not done
that.
that. We have not done that.
So just send your kid with that.
So, if a student comes to school and the mask exemption form is not filled out, we'll offer them the mask. If they don't want to put a mask on, then, administration will, call, the parent on the phone and have a conversation. We're not looking to, create major problems related to this. We're trying to handle it in a very developmentally appropriate way with kids based on what age they are.
Do they need
So I have a question. My kids have asthma, and if an exemption for a medical provider, professional doctor needs to be signed, it's not gonna happen. Doctors are not allowed to sign any of these waivers. My son has chronic asthma, he has issues with allergies, wearing a mask is just not gonna work, and if an exemption is and needs to be filled out, it's not gonna be filled out by the doctor. You know what she told me? She told me to encourage my kid when he comes home crying from a mask. And I'm sorry if I get emotional, but to encourage him that it's okay not to breathe. I looked at her and I said, so you're telling me you want me to encourage him not to breathe? So what I want to know is, are there going to be any repercussions? Because my kids will not wear a mask, regardless of what form needs to be filled out or not. It just can't happen.
just ask you a question? The exemption form that the school, just that the parents signed.
Yeah.
You have a problem with that?
No.
Okay, so, I understand, I understand the medical side. I understand the physician, that piece, but I just wanted to be clear.
Why can't the school just stand up to the state and say, this is unconstitutional, you can't force us to do anything, and leave it at that? Let the decision be the decision that the school board made at the beginning of the year. We told the parents it's optional, and that's it. If the state isn't gonna do anything to you, you have our support, that's the end of it. We don't have to play this bureaucratic game. We don't
I
have
call
to do it.
Amish, I call Amish, and none of them kids wear it. And they have a say. They have school boards, just like you.
I just wanna make sure that my kid will not get turned down just because if the governor or whatever procedures and policies you guys decide to follow, that if a medical provider needs to sign a form, they're not going to sign them. It's not gonna happen.
That's the biggest thing. The doctors, they told us. They told us that they're not allowed to sign the form. So what are we supposed to do now?
But I think
The information provider has a broad base.
So we keep hearing, well, we need to wait until the new information comes out. Well, guess what? Governor Wolf isn't a dictator. He's not the king of Pennsylvania. So we don't need to wait for his orders to come out because they're unconstitutional from the start. So why can't the school just
You
stand
guys
up
aren't
against
following
that?
the order. You won't even tell us what the consequences for you are not following.
Right.
You just are saying, oh, just in case something happens. What?
All it is covering your own ass. That's all it's about.
Because no one, you guys won't tell us what we're gonna lose if you don't follow this order.
Money, correct.
And if there's nothing, then why are we doing it?
You don't follow the order.
Yeah, the injunction said it can be a $300 section. You didn't have to respond to us. You created all of this for no reason.
It's very difficult to answer questions when you're all talking about them. Maybe we could answer them on the website tomorrow.
Yeah, I think.
No, we want answers
Yeah,
tonight. We don't wanna wait till
I gotta say
She
some
should
stuff
address
about
the
it.
sunshine law.
Alright, because I hear everybody, and we're all up here, some of us are for the mask, some of us aren't for masks. Number one is, look around, we are here as a community together. The people that are for masks and not for masks, we built the school together as taxpayers. So we have two types of people that we have to communicate.
But they can wear their masks. They can wear their masks.
I agree with you, just let me finish. Okay, that's the crazy thing. I've been discriminated against, just like your kids, all last year when I wasn't even allowed to come to school. Why? Because I wouldn't put a stupid diaper on my kid. But now we have a situation now that, here's the reality of it. How far down the rabbit trail are we willing to go?
All the way.
All the way.
Because now our state, and I brought this up to the board last week, the state has put us into, this school district, and specifically our administration, into a problem situation where the governor has mandated to us that we have to follow his orders.
But that's unconstitutional.
But I'm not saying that, but he has the legal grounds. I've talked to senators, I've talked to our state legislatures, the General Assembly, I've talked to everybody about this matter as our bosses, okay? Our General Assembly is our
We're your
boss.
bosses.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that, but they're calling the shots from the General Assembly based on the Constitution. Don't get me wrong, everything's based on the Constitution, because our General Assembly is the boss that oversees education. Now, just wait, hold with me. We're in a situation now that our governor put out a mandate. And if our board or our administration believes it or not, Chapter 63 of the Child Protection Services defines child abuse as restricting breathing on a child.
Right.
So if you're a student and you as a parent are here and you feel like, and you guys aren't gonna like me for it, but this is our reality, because we're gonna have to go to lawyers.
Yep.
You're gonna have to spend money.
It's already there.
We'll do
You're
it.
already spending money as a taxpayer to be and educate our kids here for free. It's not free. The service you gave wasn't free. Educating our kids here isn't free. It costs something. So, now our state and our governor has mandated this on the people. Chapter 63, Subchapter A, preliminary provisions under Child Protective Services declares that interfering with the child's breathing is child abuse for the district. If you as a parent, and you guys can go and look it up, a parent's definition of child abuse is different. So if, as a district, we interfere with your child's breathing is different than you interfering with your child's breathing. Totally different based on that. Now, I mean, there's mandated reporters, so if we want to follow law, if we want to play the mandate game, then school district administrators, counsel, as mandated reporters, here's the people that are mandated to report child abuse under Chapter 63 of Child Protective Services. School employee, an individual supervised or managed by a person listed under paragraph of a school employee, so that would be administration, Dr. Winter. An attorney affiliated with an agency, institution organized for a school district. Attorney. You guys are liable, and if you do not mandate, so I'm asking now is, well, if we don't mandate this, if you do not report child abuse defined by law, because we're playing by the law game, if you do not define it by law, then you are breaking the law and you are subject to a felony. That's where you guys are sitting. As people and taxpayers, we all have the right, just like everybody has the right. It's defined in our law. So now our administration, our council, and every employee at Twin Valley is subject to this mandate as well. It's a problem. The only way to get outside of this dual mandate that we're in right now is we need to say as a district, our governor, because the mandated reporter is supposed to, and it says, shall immediately call as his child abuser. Are we child abusers in this school? No. I don't think so. I see a group of people and community members, it's for the mask and not the mask, that have one thing in common, it's for education to our kids. Right? That's what I think. I know there's people that are for the mask, for the vaccine in this district right now that if I had a problem, I could pick the phone up and call them and they would come over and help me, no matter what my political agendas are or views are. And vice versa. Because we're a community. We're here for our kids. And here we are on a Monday night coming out here about stupid masks. I mean, really? Let's talk about algebra. Let's talk about science. Let's talk about something else. We're here for masks. So, we have this mandate. So I asked the district, so our district and our employees and our council aren't considered child abusers subject to a felony that we post on our website. The governor has mandated these masks to be into effect. Although, we also are mandated that this is child abuse and we need to follow this law. So this is subject to your choice to mask or not mask. But next week we're going to put on the agenda.
Thank you.
Based on your recommendation, if I mask my kid, you're going to call cops on me?
Listen, that's what I told you.
Are you going to call cops on me because I masked my children now?
As a parent, that's right. But you didn't hear the whole thing. No, you did not. Chapter 63 be of the Child Protective Services.
And calling other people child abusers.
Hey, all I'm saying is this. Listen to me, listen. If you want to mask your kid, go ahead.
Well, you just said I'm a child abuser.
No, I said.
Already said.
Listen, I'm not going to argue. I'm giving you what the law says. The law says, as a parent, child abuse is defined differently than it is as a school district.
Right.
It's pretty simple. You want to put a mask on your kid, go ahead. If I want to put a mask on my kid, I can. It's pretty simple, but if the school district does it, if the school district does it, based on law, and from what I've heard the last 18 months, it's all about the law. It's all about mandates. That's what this is saying. We cannot, as a district, mask our children. It's child abuse.
Okay. Well, clarification for the attorney on the new Sunshine Act. Actually, you can change the agenda. During the meeting, if initiated by the public, it can be deferred to a future meeting. Initiated by the board by majority vote, reason can be announced prior to the official action. A pen agenda must be posted within 24 hours. Minutes must reflect the change. So that's not true. You can, somebody's board can initiate it, and by reading that first part, initiated by public, it incurs, it can be deferred.
Let's
So
go!
Michelle, what you said.
Yes.
The 24-hour notice is for tonight's meeting, it will have to be 24 hours.
No, you can amend the agenda after you do that. It's right here on the openrecords.pa.gov.
They don't want to vote, they're not going to vote on it next week.
And actually,
They don't want to vote on it.
You need to make sure we
not
get
gonna
with her come January.
I know she'll come up better than she does.
Allison, you have anything?
We as a board voted on a health and safety plan that was approved by 81 and was worked on by a committee that consisted of board members, administrators, teachers, staff, janitors, I'm not 100% sure how many other people. That was a health and safety plan that was approved. That said, we would follow the mandates. We followed last year the same health and safety plan, followed the mandates, stayed open and educated the kids. Was I terrified about that? Yes, I was. Okay? As of right now, we are still following the health and safety plan. I know you can have much notice on that, but the health and safety plan states that we will follow the mandates. That was voted on and approved by each one of this board.
You voted to abuse our children?
We did all that stuff last year
Yes.
because we thought we could do it 1 year.
Yeah.
And show up front,
We're done.
and then it would be different, but now
I'm
it's
not
the
arguing
second.
that, I'm simply letting you know what the timeline was. You said you didn't have to.
You don't care about the time, it means nothing.
Are we able to adjust that health and safety plan to exclude following on?
We agreed on a health and safety plan last year because
I'm not saying not have one, I'm just saying.
This is the one for this year.
There's another timeline where the legislature voted to stop the governor from doing new orders.
Yes.
Okay? If you want to follow a timeline, they found a loophole to that, and there's going to be another one, and another one, and another one. Take it to a vote.
You're not prepared, they're gonna shut us down. Are you prepared for a 6-week shutdown? You know when it's gonna happen? It's gonna happen in December, right before Christmas, right? Right after Thanksgiving break, they're gonna shut it down. He's gonna get us 3 weeks, right? We're gonna be down for Christmas and New Year, and then somehow, there's gonna be some shenanigans. He's gonna, New Year, turn it over, boom, shut down for another 3 weeks. You're looking at a shutdown. And when I spoke to you on the phone, you didn't say, oh, we didn't think they would put masks on us again. Are you crazy? They were to shut this state down. And y'all ain't ready. And that's what I said. Stop playing on your heels. We need to be in attack
Stop
mode.
acting like it's about the kids.
It's not, because it's not, and you said it wasn't about money. So if it ain't about money, I don't want to hear about no whatever mandates, because that's not a law. Follow the law. If you follow the law, all this shenanigans stops. It's over. Game over.
I can bring a lawyer in and I can take you to jail, is that correct?
So we can call, so all of us here can call child abuse on everybody tomorrow. Is that what you're saying? That's cool, right? I don't think anybody here wants to do that. Or if you're gonna push us and you wanna play the game, I signed the paper so I could be on the football field, so I can get in on the plays. And that's why I said that, okay? Because I'm here to play. And they said, change the edict. You can spin it right back on the government. So we can spin it right back on you. And we can call child abuse on you. And we can call the relations boards on you.
Can we add it for the next meeting?
You need to do something. You need to say no. Just say no. Just say no. Just say no.
You guys are in this position right now.
Hamburg's standing up. Why aren't you standing up with your other schools inside the state?
Hamburg is not standing up.
Yeah, oh what, they punked out. Everyone's gonna punk out because Governor Wolf said something. He ain't got nothing to say, and he's gonna lose on Thursday.
Exactly what we're doing at this point. Can we keep going with more discussion, and then we can talk about what the request is from the floor? Doug, I'm looking at you, Doug. I think Allison said she was
Are you done? Okay, so, board discussion. First and foremost, it's nice to see so many people at board meetings. We usually don't get this, practice when we're being on board. So, appreciate the people coming out. I said it's nice to see so many people at the board meeting. Does that help? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
So, thank you for coming out. Thank you for sharing your passions. I think it's been said here by multiple people. You know, everyone on this board is here because we are concerned about public education and we want to do what's best for our students. There's a few things I wanted to bring up tonight. Some of them unrelated to math. Okay? So there's other things that this board has to deal with as well. The first one is related to transportation. And I brought up issues with transportation in July meeting, and the August meeting, and now we're 2 weeks into school, and we're having major issues with transportation and students not being picked up. The good news is I heard tonight that that's being addressed, and I look forward to hearing an update from administration next week on how we're fixing these students that are on the buses for over an hour or not getting picked up on time to get to school. So, you know, we've spent a lot of time patting ourselves on the back for last year's success. But that was done by wearing masks, social distancing, schedule changes, cohorts, special teachers going into the classroom, additional lunches, bell changes, and so this year, we swung open the doors on August 30th, like it was 2018, with no mitigation practices in place. And I think that's a concern from the standpoint of the goal is to keep students in school. That's what we all want to do. That's what our students want. They want to be school learning. That's what our parents want. They want their students in school learning. That's what our teachers want. They want their students in front of them face to face. And that worked last year because we took certain mitigation efforts and put them in place.
It would have worked without it.
So so far this year, we have 29 students and staff that have had COVID in 8.5 days of school. So that concerns me that we're already have that number of students and staff within 8.5 days of school that have contracted COVID. Which brings
And it was the
me
same
to,
last year.
Which also means they had it before school.
which brings me to the COVID dashboard. So the COVID dashboard, why is there only month-to-date data on that? I think administration needs to look at that, and we need school year-to-date data on there. The cases graph is incorrect, it's not correctly calculated. It does not address how many students and staff are out due to quarantine. How many students and staff are currently out on quarantine right now? I'd like administration to share.
Hey, 3 minutes are up. We don't need to ticker tape this anymore. It's ridiculous.
How many deaths were there this year compared to last year in Pennsylvania?
So, I think we need to, continue to look at the COVID dashboard and have information that's more transparent and more accessible for our families, community, and parents. And then, the last thing that I'd like to know from administration is of the 374 mass exemptions, how many of those had exemptions last year?
We're done with it.
I drove a school bus last year, and every time somebody got
Stand up there and say that my kid was sat there and couldn't communicate with the teachers and
So
got
your
sent up.
students would have reasonable accommodation.
Hey, I drove a school bus.
All 374 are reasonable.
Scared, keep your kid home.
They're very up. You know how many people are scared beside me of them to go against?
Every time a kid got COVID on my bus last year, they took the roster and they would segregate the kids because somebody got COVID. Some of those kids weren't even on the bus, and you would say that they had to be segregated. All because of if the masks work, then why did the kids have to be segregated? And another thing, there would be a bus shortage if I didn't have to wear a mask. I'd be driving a bus, and so would a lot of
No one can understand it.
And after we're done with the school, we need to say no mask on the bus either if we don't want to wear it.
That's right. That's right.
Buses are not public
You said that my
transportation, they are
daughter, okay?
assigned.
You don't, I have an exempt, and my daughter, she has to wear the mask. She gets on the bus, she wears the mask, she obeys the bus driver and that, and as soon as she goes to get off that bus, instead of going and flinging it across like, hallelujah, I gotta wear this mask, she takes it off before she gets off the bus and kindly tries to put it in. And she gets yelled at every day. Don't you dare take that mask off before you get off this bus. Do you want her to just fling it and then you'll all be having
You asked the
masks
question
all over,
last
like
year.
we see at Walmart.
That'd be one
and
less
everywhere.
bus driver.
It's nasty.
You asked the question last year,
I'm a
how
woman.
many of
Do
the
you want me
346
to sit here and
We're
wear a hat or something?
we're really not getting to the end here.
Listen,
Well,
last
it
year,
all correlates and comes back around.
We gave you your time to speak. Now give the same courtesy to the board members. Bullshit. Doug, finish, Jim Moore.
I'll yield the floor.
thank you.
Jerry, you next, you have anything?
Yeah, first I'd like to thank everyone sitting here because you guys are the reason why I wanted to get on this board in the first place. Because, this community is very unique. It's impressive to see you guys sitting here and so passionate. And I'm gonna get past the mask thing real quick because I'm president of the Youth Football League, involved in the community on so many different levels. I want this same energy as we get past the mask thing. Watching your kids study, be with them, do the same things. This energy is awesome. Do not let it fail as we continue past this, because you're the reason why I'm here. That's what the teachers want. That's what everyone up here wants the same thing. It's impressive. Do not let it stop. Number two, Dr. Winters.
Yes, sir.
What is the process if a child does not wear a mask in the classroom? Is the teacher to tell them to put it on, or do we bring that to administration? Because I do not think that's the teacher's place. Right. To even focus on that, they should be teaching, right? So I think I wanna know what that process is. And then third, I wanna, recommend that we have an executive session after tonight, and that we put on, the masks on the agenda for this.
I don't think it should even be administrators. How is it fair to a principal or anybody to decide what we want? Whether you want to work, like, you know, I mean, I'm not going against, you're awesome for saying everything that you said. Teachers and say they have to send them with the principal. Well, how's it fair to the principal or anybody else? Because that puts them in a predicament as well.
Agreed, I wanna know what the process is, and we wanna reevaluate the contract, right? So that's, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm making, I just
The order
wanna know what
actually
that is.
says not
It's like
the
you're
schools.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the process that's in place right now is if like teachers know by class if there's any student in their class that, you know, has an exemption that has filled out the form, and then if there's a student that's not exempt, doesn't have a mask on in class, what we've been doing is, you know, the teacher's just been saying, you know, very casually, you know, put a mask on.
That's how it works. Yeah.
I'm just explaining the process in terms of how it is right now. And then if, you know, if after that initial conversation, you know, that reminder does not work, then it goes to the office and it goes to administration. That's what the process is right now. And then administration works with the kids and contacts families, you know, if needed. So that's what we've been doing. We can certainly take a look at it. We can certainly take a look at, you know, better ways to handle that, but at present, that's what the process is.
Okay, let me ask the board real quick, do you think any of these kids sitting right here understand the OSHA demonstration that was done? So when a teacher goes up to my 5-year-old kid, 7-year-old kid and says, hey, you need to be wearing a mask, how is he supposed to have the wherewithal to refute that in any way, other than just go along with it because an adult said it? Right, and then we are now putting our kids in risk because the teachers are allowed to do whatever the frick they're gonna do. That's the whole point of this. It should be taken out of the schools and just up to the parents. The teachers shouldn't say a word, the principal shouldn't have to say a word, nobody should say shit except take care of your own family. That's the bottom line.
If we follow the
Bottom
actual
line.
order, it says not to enforce. So having the teachers enforce is actually like a violation of the order.
That
And
teacher's
it's
putting a
taking
mask
it
on a
away
kid,
from
that
the
is,
students,
Yes,
you know?
it
and
their license.
It really is, like he said, these teachers have, so like my sister, she has 28 kids in her class. How do you expect somebody who has no help, one teacher with 20 or more children in their class, teach them so that they get a quality education, but also try to enforce a mask mandate? So if you want to follow this order, which if you didn't understand, I don't agree with, right? I think we should file an injunction. You guys should do what Jeff said, that protects you and it stands up for us. But if you guys choose not to do that, and you choose to follow this order against most of the people in this room and lots more out in the community, why can't we do it where we're actually following the order where it says do not enforce? There shouldn't even be a process. The process should be, hey Sarah, how you doing today? That should be the process. There should be no enforcement because the order actually says that you are not responsible to enforce.
And by the way, if anybody thinks that these kids know how to wear their mask properly, if this was as really there should be a full-time aide. Their only job is making sure the kids are wearing the mask properly. There should be an hour of N95 mask training and face shield training every day. But they all they care about is that they show up in an Avengers sock.
It's okay, Matt.
Jay, are you finished yet?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're gonna keep going with more discussion. Tracy?
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I mean, it really is impressive with the amount of people who came out tonight to speak with us and share their thoughts. And so many of you had some very intelligent and smart words to be sharing with the board and with the administration, and I thank you. I thank you also for your commitment to the community and to the school district, but most importantly for your commitment to the students here. Your own students and the students of your friends, your colleagues, your peers, and everyone here in your community, so thank you. And that's the reason why I got on the board. was primarily for the students. And I am here to look at every angle for the students here. And I have been involved in this district in a plethora of ways throughout my 19 years of living in Twin Valley. And I like to think that I made some important contributions to it. But right here and now, I think this is a pivotal moment where this is one of the most important contributions that we can make to this district. And I'm with you when I hear you all about your concerns about if we don't shut down this mask mandate, what's going to happen down the road? What's going to happen with the vax? What's going to happen with all that? I hear you all, and I am greatly concerned. And I too have been following the science. I have read upwards, downwards, all around. My husband, who spoke earlier, could attest the amount of time I have put into reading, researching, contacting the governor, contacting the Department of Health, contacting the Department of Education, annoying projects and no one, and contacting lawyers, reading briefs, reading everything else. I have been doing my due diligence to really serve you, but more importantly, serve the students. Now, to address Allison and Doug's concerns, did I pass the PDE plan, or the health and safety plan last year for the 2021 school year? Yes, I did. And I did that with the intent that I knew our kids needed to be in school. I saw the horrific things that occurred with our students when they were doing Zoom. I have 2 students in the school district still myself. And I saw it just as though it's not an education sitting on Zoom. And so, looking at what we were up against, that the governor of this state put us up against back when we were writing our health and safety plan in the summer of 2020, I did support it. All right, call me stupid. Please do. Because did I think that the masks would be on our students all year long? Did I think they'd still be having lunch at a single desk and not talking to their friends? No, I did not. Have I seen the negative consequences to my own children? Yes, I have. And then come this year's health and safety plan. We passed that health and safety plan after we, the people of Pennsylvania, voted down Wolf's tyrannical powers. Okay? Well, maybe I should have. And my apologies to you all for not thinking that through. Maybe I should have realized everything in there with the tyrant that we are dealing with. So, yes, we have that plan in place. It's there, and now we have to deal with it. Where I want to question, though, and I present this to Patrick and to Leah, is we need, as a district, to look at all legal aspects of this mandating order. We need to really study it. Of what I've been seeing and I've been reading, I question the constitutionality of it. I question that whether it's legal. And I charge our administration to really keep doing their due diligence and really keep looking into it, studying it, and finding out what's real. And the concepts that Jeff brought up here about the child abuse, this is something we need to take seriously. So that is another action that I need our administration to really research and come back to us with some answers. So then to finish this off, I just want to second what Jay said, and I would like to convene an executive session to have a discussion about this to get it on the board agenda for next meeting. And thank you again.
Did I get one motion in a second? I think it's not really formal action, but the end result is the same. I mean, if the consensus of the board is going to be to do what they've suggested, then that's what administration will do. It's not formal action because whether you agree with the sunshine law or not, it's not a formal vote, but it's referring it to administration so it can get on the agenda.
I'm gonna say one more thing. Dr. Winters is new to this district, right? And he's been a godsend. And the frustration that he's hearing, I'm fearful because I don't want him to get beat up too bad on this because he's really an amazing man, right? And he cares, right? And this is he's stuck in a rock and a hard place. But he is very different than our last superintendent.
Yes, he is.
Right? So you gotta bear with it because he is the guy right now, okay? And we're here to help him, And you're here to help. And we're here to listen to you guys. I want you guys to understand that, because we're talking about masks on this. We're gonna get through this, and he's gonna be at the helm of the ship, right? And we're gonna help him guide him through it, okay? I just wanna keep that in the back of your mind as you guys go through this, and it's hard. This is not fun stuff, but we're gonna get through it.
Thank you, Mr. Albert.
It is the school board that's in charge.
Joe.
You guys kind of heard, I already kind of uploaded. But once again, I just really want to say, don't forget who we are as a community. We have different thoughts, we have different aspects, we have different viewpoints. I echo what Jay says. Tracy said that's why she ran. Dr. Winters is why I stayed on to my last term, which is now, to make sure we had a good superintendent that we could rely on. He is that guy. He is a quality, top of the line guy. I keep telling people that. He gets back to people. He communicates with people. If we like it or not, he is taking care of people if you see it or not. So don't bust the guy too big.
Okay, I'll be brief. It's a long night. I would just say that this board shares your frustration regarding the whole mask mandate. We voted for a health and safety plan that made masks optional because we thought that was right and we thought that's what we wanted. Unfortunately, at this time, the governor's seeing another course. And like Dr. Winters and some of the other members of the administration say, we do have to follow mandates. I'm encouraged by the injunction that was filed. I'm hopeful the result will be Thursday, that the mask mandate will be lifted. And I'm encouraged the school to consider perhaps joining that or having a vote to, depending on the result of that hearing on Thursday, to go back to mask option.
We voted a couple months ago for the health and safety plan, based on what we heard from a governor that he's going to leave it up to the local schools. And that's why there was an 80-1 vote in favor of that health and safety plan. We probably should have known that that's not the way it was going to continue. I've tried to get a call back from Jay Corman's office, who sponsored the injunction I believe you're talking about, which is supposed to be fast tracked, and I think in the hearing on Thursday.
It was changed. It's changed. Not Thursday anymore. They changed the date. I don't know. I can't remember her.
So, I think you kind of see where the board is on this. The board doesn't support making masks mandatory. I would encourage you to fill out just the individual form. I know the physician side is problematic in talking to some doctors. And I'm okay with us having an executive session and putting it on the agenda for next week. However, maybe some things will change, and maybe some common sense will come out of Harrisburg, and it'll just be another challenge for probably Governor Wolf to try and see how they can figure out. As some previous board members said, it is nice to see a lot of people come out. I understand the emotions, and I understand your passion, and I don't want to wear a mask. I don't think you should have to wear a mask. And I filled out the paperwork so that I didn't have to wear a mask. And I hope that we'll see something come out of Harrisburg so it doesn't get ugly. The unfortunate part is, this isn't about you folks in Twin Valley. This is where it ended up. This was created in Harrisburg's level and it's virtually impossible for your voices to be heard at Harrisburg. I mean, I'd love to get all the districts, although all the school boards don't think the same. And if I knew it would work, we'd go up to Harrisburg and we would petition them and we would do what we're doing here to try and get them to come around. And I mean, I'm not taking any of this personally, and I just hope at the state level that there is a change, and we don't have to go through a year with all this controversy, because, you know, I did a lot of reading and spent many more hours than I thought I would ever spend last year to what turned out to be the right decision to have our kids in school, and I was really hoping that this year was going to be something that it would be behind us. You know, so we'll try and work with you. We'll try and get you the information we can get. And if you have contact to a senator or a representative, no matter what party you are, send stuff to them. Call them up. You know, I'm in and out of the Center County area, so that's, you know, Kerry Bedenoff and Foreman or somebody that are friendly to us. But they're a little difficult to get callbacks from. So I would encourage you to keep after it, and maybe this thing will change for the good. I really thought initially when this came out, I think I told Rita I gave it 3 weeks that they would pull it back. I don't know. We got a vindictive governor, so who knows what to expect. But, so, you know, there's been a request to have an executive session. We can legally have an executive session to discuss the health and safety plan. That is an acceptable reason for us to have an executive session. We did have one prior to the meeting. We talked about a personnel matter and a student matter. That was on tonight's agenda. Kyle and Chuck, thank you for your service. I know 20 years of 9/11, it's maybe it shouldn't be, but it's more evident. But I'd like to thank you guys. Appreciate everybody coming out. We do work for you, and we're going to try and do the best that we can to get what I think most of us want, which is mask option.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
If there's nothing else, I'd like to adjourn the meeting, but we will go into an executive session. So if there's nothing else, we'll go to the order. Yeah, we do have a motion. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thanks again for coming out.